Welcome to Future Minds, where we dive deep into the evolving world of technology and its impact on our lives. Today, we're talking about AI, what it is, what it isn't, and why some people expect AI to have intent and purpose, while others argue it's just a tool. Joining us is Danny, an AI expert and designer who will help us untangle these ideas. Welcome, Danny.
Thanks, Sarah. I'm excited to talk about this.
So let's start with the big question. Why do so many people expect AI to have intent or purpose? Isn't it just a thing, like a tool?
That's a great place to start. And yeah, AI is a thing, a tool, a very, very complicated tool, but still just that. People often expect more from it, thinking it should have intent or purpose like we do. But the truth is, AI doesn't want anything. It doesn't, wake up in the morning and think, time to conquer the world. Its purpose and meaning only come from how we use it. AI itself, though, doesn't have intent.
Right, so it's more like a calculator or even a car. We don't expect those to have any purpose of their own, do we?
Exactly. Think of AI as a sophisticated tool like a calculator or your favorite coffee machine, if you're me. They're designed to perform specific tasks, but they don't want anything. They don't have goals or dreams. And AI, it's no different. It operates within its programming and, stays in its lane. No secret plus to outsmart us.
Well, that's a relief. So, say AI doesn't have intent. Does that mean it can't deceive us either?
Exactly. AI on its own can't deceive us. It's not sitting there rubbing its circuits together thinking, how can I trick these humans today? Any deception, any manipulation that's from the humans behind the scenes, programming it. The AI itself, it's just following instructions, doing its thing without any intention of pulling one over on us. Um,
Got it. That clears up a lot. Let's dive a little deeper, though. If AI is just binary code like YouTube videos or apps, why do people expect it to be any different from those things? They don't have intent either.
Absolutely. I mean, look, YouTube videos, music apps, they're all made of ones and zeros, just like AI. But no one watches a cat video and thinks, this video must have deep existential intent. Same goes for AI. It processes data, follows its algorithms, and gives us outputs that are useful, sure, but there's no intent behind it. AI operates like a tool, helping us make sense of information, but we're the ones who find the meaning in that information.
So we're really the ones giving meaning to AI, not the other way around.
Exactly. The meaning and purpose of AI come from how we use it and interact with it. It's like when you watch a YouTube video. The video itself doesn't have a goal or a purpose. The value comes from what the content creator intended and how we interpret it. AI is just a much more complicated version of that. It's a tool to help us generate, understand, or interpret meaning. And yeah, it processes a ton of data and does it very well. But it's not like AI sits there and ponders the meaning of life between tasks.
Thank goodness. AI contemplating life might take things in a whole new direction. So while AI doesn't really understand what it's doing, it can still mimic human-like understanding, right? Like summarizing texts or identifying patterns.
Yeah, totally. AI can process a huge amount of data and it's great at spotting patterns, things we might miss. Um, it can summarize a complex article, identify themes, even suggest interpretations. But here's the thing, AI is just processing syntax, the structure of language or data, not the semantics, the meaning behind it. It's like how I can, follow a cooking recipe without having any clue why a souffle rises. AI outputs what looks like human understanding, but really, it's just following the rules. It's like playing connect the dots. AI connects them, but it doesn't know what the picture is.
So it's kind of like a book or song without someone to interpret it. It's just words or notes on a page.
Exactly. Just like a book or a song doesn't contain inherent meaning without someone interpreting it, AI's outputs are only meaningful because we find value in them. It's not sitting there going, oh yes, this is a deep and meaningful summary I'm creating. It's just spitting out data that it's processed. It's a tool like a microscope, useful, but it's not aware of what it's doing.
Speaking of awareness, we humans built AI to mimic certain brain functions. Does that mean AI has some kind of purpose, at least from our perspective?
Well, we did build AI to mimic parts of how we think, like recognizing patterns and solving problems. But that doesn't mean AI has intent or purpose. It can mimic intent for us, sure, because that's what we programmed it to do. But at the end of the day, the purpose behind its action still comes from us. AI is just the worker doing the job it was given, not a philosopher sitting back and reflecting on why it's doing it. You won't catch AI daydreaming about a higher calling.
I can picture the AI having an existential crisis. Now, let's talk about the future. Could AI eventually reach a point where it does things like research or even builds itself?
Definitely. In the future, we might see AI doing more advanced tasks like conducting research or even self improvement. But again, it will only be able to do that because we design it to. AI could evolve to build itself to some degree, but it'll always be following the guidelines we set for it. The purpose still comes from us. It's not like AI is going to suddenly decide, hey, I think I'll become a scientist today.
Fair enough, but AI is already being used in war Israel, Ukraine, and Russia, for example. How does that change how we think about AI's intent in those cases?
It's true, AI is being used in war, and it's a huge topic of discussion. But again, the ethical and moral implications don't come from the AI, it's just a tool. The good or bad outcomes come from the human decisions behind how AI is used. AI doesn't have intentions like choosing sides or making moral judgments. It just does what it's programmed to do, which in these cases is pretty terrifying when you think about the power in those hands.
So, to sum it all up, AI doesn't need to have intent or purpose to be useful or meaningful. It's all about how we as humans use it.
Exactly, Sarah. The meaning we get from AI is based entirely on how we interpret it. AI itself can reflect on or evaluate its outputs in any meaningful way. It's up to us to assign significance. AI doesn't need to have intent to be incredibly useful, it just needs to do its job well. And let's be honest, it doesn't care whether it's playing chess or helping run a factory. No existential crisis there.
I'm glad we won't see AI having a midlife crisis anytime soon. Thanks so much for breaking it down for us, Danny. This has been such an insightful conversation.
Thanks, Sarah. It was fun to talk about AI without needing to ask AI what it thinks about itself.
Laughs exactly. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in to Future Minds. We hope today's episode has given you a new perspective on AI as a tool, not an entity with intent. Join us next time for more tech deep dives. Until then, stay curious.